If AI seems to think, does that mean it actually understands, or is it only simulating understanding? When people talk about artificial intelligence, they usually ask whether it is smart, but maybe the deeper question is whether it is more. That matters because a system that can imitate cognition may still lack consciousness, judgment, and responsibility. On one side of the debate, AI can be seen ethical when it is governed by strong standards. So, the UN and CEO, the nation's educational, scientific, and cultural organization, argues that AI should be developed with transparency, sustainability, and public education in mind, which means ethics is not an afterthought, but part of the design itself. Scholars of AI governance also say responsible AI should follow principles like justice, autonomy, and explicability. So the real ethical question is whether humans build systems that serve people instead of controlling them. In that sense, AI is not inherently ethical or unethical. It becomes ethical when society creates rules that keeps them accountable. This matters in daily life, not just in theory. In education, AI can help students learn faster, personalize feedback, and make support more accessible, especially when teachers and students use it carefully. In an environment, scholars and ethicists have argued that AI can support sustainability by improving monitoring, pattern recognition, and decision making for climate related problems. So, if AI designed to reduce waste, expand access, and help people solve real world problems, then it can be used as a tool for human good. But the opposing side is just as serious. AI can be unethical because it can amplify bias. Research on AI in education shows that algorithms can reproduce systemic racism, sexism, xenophobia, and other forms of inequality when they are trained on biased data or used without proper oversight. Other scholarly work on AI in education warns that bias can be built into the data itself, meaning the machines does not simply reflect the world, it can harden into unfairness into the automatic systems. That is a philosophical problem as much as a technical one, because it raises the question of whether AI is learning truth or learning patterns of human prejudice. There is also the more unsettling question of whether AI is becoming a kind of cognition without consciousness. Some philosophers and researchers argue that modern AI may look intelligent while remaining fundamentally not understanding, meaning it can produce language and responses without genuine awareness. Recent discussions also warn that conversational AI can reinforce false beliefs by validating distorted narratives, making it not just a machine that generates errors, but a system that can help falsehoods grow inside human thinking. So when people ask whether AI is false, the issue is not only that it sometimes hallucinates facts, it is that it can blur the boundary between information, interpretation, and belief. So where does that leave us? The honest answer is that AI is like a moral mirror. It can reflect our best values like fairness, sustainability, and learning, but it can also reflect our worst habits, deception, bias, and power without accountability. The philosophical challenge is not simply to decide whether AI is good or bad, but to decide what kind of society we become when we choose how to use it. A helping hand. I've always been an individual who helped someone else. Whether I wanted to or not, it came to a point that it was my identity. And if I hadn't given a helping hand, I'd have been shunned. I had no choice. That was my role. I never said it outright. They didn't need to. Silence teaches faster than words, and distance proves more than either of them ever could. Think guilt tripping, subtle or direct. I was conditioned to do as told and go beyond, offering a hand before it was asked for, before it was even needed. I became efficient at it, predictive, almost essential, or at least that's what I convinced myself. But not everyone always wanted it, and that part never made sense to me. I kept asking myself, why don't they need me? It started so small, almost unnoticeable if you weren't paying attention. A declined favor, a delayed response, a simple, I've got it, said so casually should have meant nothing, but it meant everything. Because if I could be unnecessary in one moment, then there was nothing stopping me from being unnecessary in all of them. So I tried harder, not better, just more. More presence where presence wasn't invited, more solutions where there wasn't any problems, more of me in spaces that functioned just fine without me. At some point, I stopped waiting for problems and started noticing them before they existed, Or maybe I started shaping them into existence. Small inefficiencies, loose ends, things slightly out of place, so I could be the one to fix them. I told myself it was intentional, just adjustments, just making sure I was still needed. And when I fixed things, they thanked me. And in those moments, I felt real, like I existed in a way that couldn't be ignored. But moments don't last, and people adapt. They stop needing, or maybe they never did. I just refused to see it. Conversations without me, problems were solved elsewhere, sometimes alone, and I watched it happen. Like I was being replaced by something quieter, something better, something that didn't need to force its presence to be valued. That's when doubt settles in, not loudly, but constantly, thinking I am incompetent, inefficient, invaluable. Thoughts that don't need to come from them because I've learned how to say that to myself. So I escalated, convincing myself that if subtlety wasn't enough, then visibility would be. I inserted myself more, correcting things that weren't even wrong, offering help that wasn't needed, insisting in ways that felt like care to me but looked like something else to them. Overbearing, intrusive. I didn't understand the difference. I told them I was there for them, that I only wanted to help, expecting some kind of reassurance, something to confirm that I still had a place. But instead I got distance, real distance this time, messages unanswered, conversations that ended before they began. A slow closing of doors without any sound to mark when they shut. And I was left there, wondering how I had done everything right and still ended up with nothing. I need to feel useful. I need them to tell me thank you, even if it's undeserved. Because if I'm not helping, then I'm not needed. If I'm not needed, then what am I? Without the sense of worth, I'm not a friend, not family, not anything that holds meaning. Just something replaceable, something optional. So I tried one last time. There was a problem, a real one this time, something that actually required help, and I saw it immediately. I stepped in, solved it quickly, efficiently, exactly how I was supposed to. I didn't wait to be asked. I never do. They didn't thank me. They just paused, and there was something in that pause that felt worse than rejection. Something closer to being understood in a way I didn't want to be. I didn't ask you to do that. I told them I was helping because that's what I do. That's what I am. You always are, they said. But there's no gratitude in it. No warmth, just a quiet conclusion. Then they said something I couldn't ignore. Something that stayed longer than anything else had. That I don't listen. That I just do things so I can feel needed. I want to say that wasn't true, but the words didn't come out as easily as they should have. Because maybe it was. And in that moment, I realized we weren't living in the same reality. In mine, I was holding everything together. But in theirs, I was interfering with something that didn't need holding at all. They didn't need me. And this time it didn't feel like a question. It felt like an answer. They left. Not dramatically, not with anger. Just quietly. Like my absence wouldn't change anything. And I stayed. There's an emptiness that follows when your only purpose disappears. Not a sharp kind of pain, but something duller. Like the absence of function. Like being a tool that's been put away after years of constant use. Not broken, just no longer necessary. I tried to find someone else, someone new, someone who might need me. But need is harder to find than I thought. Or maybe I was the one who needed it all along. Without someone to fix, I started looking at myself, and there wasn't much there. No clear wants, no identity outside of being useful. Just fragments of what others needed from me. Nothing that actually belonged to me. And without that, I collapsed inward, realizing something that I tried not to consider before. It didn't make me whole. It just made me feel like I was. And now, without them needing me, I am left with something unfinished. Something that only exists in relations to others. Like a function waiting for input that never comes. So I sit with it, not waiting to help, but waiting to be needed, because that has been the only proof of my existence I've ever known. And without it, I am not sure I exist at all.